This summer, the WNBA hit a boiling point. At the All-Star Game in Phoenix, the league's biggest names took the floor wearing black t-shirts with 4 blunt words in white block letters. "Pay us what you owe us," a protest that turned into the opening shot of the most important labor fight in the league's history. July 20, 2025, Phoenix, Arizona. The WNBA All-Star Game was supposed to be a party, a celebration of a record-breaking year, a sold-out Footprint Center, and a national TV audience riding the wave of Caitlin Clark's rookie season. The lights were bright, the crowd was loud, and the hype was real. But when the All-Stars jogged out for warm-ups, the usual tunnel walk glamour was gone. No colorful hoodies, no brand-new sneakers making their Instagram debut. Instead, every player on the court was in a plain black t-shirt, the words printed in bold white across the chest. But the story didn't begin in Phoenix. It began years earlier, in locker rooms, airports, and overseas gyms where the best women's basketball players in the world were forced to spend their off-seasons just to pay their bills. From the WNBA's earliest days in the late 1990s, salaries lagged behind every other major pro sport in America. Stars like Sheryl Swoopes, Lisa Leslie, and Cynthia Cooper built the league's reputation while making less than NBA role players. For years, the trade-off was framed as an investment, low pay now for the promise of a sustainable league later, but later kept being pushed back. By the 2010s, the gap between the league's visibility and its pay scale had become glaring. Brittany Griner was dunking on primetime. Diana Taurasi was a household name. Maya Moore was collecting rings. But when the season ended, those same players packed up and headed overseas, Russia, Turkey, China, because that's where the money was. Taurasi made more in one Russian winter than she could in 5 WNBA seasons combined. Rena Stewart spent winters in China and summers in Seattle. Off-seasons weren't for rest, they were for survival. The 2020 CBA was supposed to mark a turning point. The max salary rose to around $215,000. Travel accommodations improved. Maternity protections got stronger. But even those gains didn't close the gap, not with overseas salaries still dwarfing WNBA pay, and not with the NBA's revenue split sitting at roughly 50% for players compared to the WNBA's 20%. The cracks widened in 2023 and 2024. Injuries piled up, ACL tears, stress fractures linked to year-round play. Caitlin Clark broke NCAA viewership records and sold out arenas, but everyone knew her rookie deal would pay her less than some NBA 10-day contracts. The nil boom made college stars like Angel Reese and Paige Bueckers richer on campus than they'd be in the pros. And the optics got worse. A viral clip showed A'ja Wilson boarding a cramped commercial flight hours after dropping 35 points, sparking outrage about travel conditions. By the start of the 2025 season, the frustration was baked in. The All-Star Game was simply the stage. Now back to this summer. It wasn't just Clark making a statement. Sabrina Ionescu had one. So did Nafisa Collier, Angel Reese, Paige Bueckers, and nearly every other star in the building. They laughed, they chatted, they went through their shooting routines like nothing had changed, but everyone watching knew something had. This was no merch drop. It was a warning shot aimed directly at league headquarters. The context was already there for anyone paying attention. Clark's rookie deal pays her just over $78,000. Reese has openly said her salary doesn't even cover her rent. For years, WNBA stars have been spending their off-seasons overseas, Russia, Turkey, China, chasing paychecks that dwarf anything they could earn at home. The gap with the NBA is staggering. NBA rookies make more in 2 weeks than Clark will in her entire first season. NBA players split roughly 50% of league revenue. WNBA players get closer to 20%. And the timing wasn't accidental. The current collective bargaining agreement expires in October 2025. At halftime, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert went on national TV to address the shirts. She praised Clark's impact, saying everybody's talking about the WNBA, but insisted the league couldn't build its future around one player. She name-checked A'ja Wilson, Brittany Griner, Diana Taurasi, and spoke about expanding the pie with international markets and new sponsorships. To some, it sounded like a measured plan for growth. To others, it was a dodge, a polished corporate answer that left the core question of salaries untouched. Then Diana Taurasi blew the conversation wide open. 2 weeks later, in a teaser for her upcoming Prime Video docuseries, the 3-time champion looked straight into the camera and said, "The F-King janitor at the arena made more than me." She wasn't exaggerating. Early in her career, Taurasi was the best player in the world, yet made less than arena staff forced to play overseas just to pay the bills. The clip went instantly viral. Longtime fans hailed her as telling the uncomfortable truth. Critics pointed to her endorsement deals and career earnings, saying she was out of touch. But the moment had done its job. The pay gap was now mainstream conversation, and it wasn't going away. Soon, the numbers started circulating. The WNBA posted a $40–50 million loss in 2024. In the same breath, the league had signed a $3.38 billion TV deal starting in 2026, worth $200 million annually. Players were locked into CBA that guaranteed them only a fraction of that windfall. Analysts framed it in simple math: if revenue is going up but salaries aren't, the players have a case. And they're making it loudly. The shirts spread beyond the All-Star game. High school and college teams wore them in solidarity. TikTok creators mashed up Engelbert's halftime comments with Taurasi's janitor line, turning them into memorable moments. Angel Reese tweeted "Pay US" in all caps and pulled in hundreds of thousands of likes. The discourse split into camps: those who believed the league had to prove profitability before raising pay, and those who argued you can't build a sustainable league when your stars are underpaid and overworked. NBA players chimed in, Damian Lillard and Chris Paul among them, throwing public support behind the women. CNN ran a panel segment. Fox News called it the next sports labor battle to watch. Suddenly, a conversation that had been mostly confined to niche basketball circles was now a national labor story. What made this different from past pay disputes was how public, coordinated, and unapologetic it was. The All-Star protest wasn't just a moment. It was the opening chapter in a year-long campaign to shape the terms of the next CBA. The players had learned from the USWNT's equal pay fight, from NBA lockouts, from hockey strikes. You don't wait for closed-door meetings. You win the PR war first. The clock is ticking. The CBA expires in just over a year. The league is betting that rising attendance, growing TV deals, and new sponsorship money will give it room to raise pay without going into the red. The players are betting that they have the leverage to demand much more, and maybe, if they have to walk away until they get it. For now, the shirts have been folded up, the All-Star game is in the rearview, and the regular season grind continues. But the battle lines have been drawn. What started as a quiet truth whispered in locker rooms is now on the record, on social media, and on national TV. The question isn't whether the WNBA can afford to pay its players more, it's whether it can afford not to.